And this is a live look at the radar and the path that Hurricane Matthew is expected to take right now as it approaches the east coast of Florida. You can see the swirl there. You can see the eye, and it is moving kind of parallel towards the coast of Florida as it just left the Bahamas there. Our chief meteorologist, Derek Beasley, has been tracking and monitoring this storm all afternoon. We have been live on the air since about 2:30, and we're not going to leave you now. Let's get over to him. He just got the latest numbers, including the newest 11 p.m. advisory. So, Derek, has anything changed? What can we expect here in Southwest Florida and the East Coast to see from this storm?
Well, Amy and Patrick, really nothing's changed with the system. It's still holding with winds at 130 miles per hour. The pressure right about the same, and the track really hasn't changed any. So no surprises showing up on the 11 o'clock advisory. But really, it's kind of at this point just kind of visually looking at the radar and just interpreting it from there. And you can clearly see where the center of the storm is right now. And we've been talking about this all evening long. This thing has two eye walls now. It has an inner eye and an outer eye. So it has a double eye wall signature on radar. And so basically what we're looking at is the eye of the storm, the old eye, dissipated, and we're seeing a new one forming on the outer edge here. And as a result of that, it looks like this eye is going to be the dominant one, and it's going to be larger. So in other words, we're going to have a larger hurricane-force wind field as a result of that eye wall replacement cycle. Now, here's a look at the Doppler radar. We're still tracking the rain, these waves of rain moving across the area. We're seeing a band now moving through Cliston and Palmdale, and that's where we're seeing potentially some tropical storm-force wind gusts. So we've not gotten any reports that I know of. I know we have Deborah Souverain that's over in Cliston right now, and we'll check and see if she's been reporting anything as far as stronger winds are concerned with that band as it moves through. But by far the strongest of the winds are associated with this right here, this band that is now kind of on the western edge of that a new eye that is forming from West Palm Beach all the way up towards Fort Pierce. Winds around our area, 15 to 25 miles per hour. The strongest winds, of course, over in Cliston. We've had some gusts over 30 in Port Charlotte. So the storm continues moving northwest. It has a pretty decent eye associated with it. The latest coordinates on it as of 11 o'clock, 27.1 degrees north and about 79.2 degrees west. Pressure at 939 millibars, and you see we still have the loop in the forecast here, so that has not changed. But of immediate concern is where is this thing going to go from here? And again, the Hurricane Center looks like trying to keep this thing right close to the coast, so that's what we're likely going to see. The eye is just going to basically travel right up the I-95 corridor, go right up the coast towards the first coast, and then eventually curve offshore, paralleling the Georgia coast. And that's going to be a bad scenario for storm surge as we go throughout the next 24 hours or so, as we're going to see huge water rises on the Florida coast and up towards Georgia that we have not seen in modern times. And that's going to cause big-time problems and potential significant devastation. The hurricane warning remains in effect from Palm Beach County northward. We're still looking at a tropical storm watch for DeSoto County and Sarasota County, but it has been dropped for the rest of the area, so we're not anticipating sustained tropical storm force winds in southwest Florida. We really weren't anyway, but it looks like even the chance for gusts of tropical storm force has lowered. We're still looking at the areas in red or maroon colored here, Highlands, Glades, and Hendry County, where that has the highest potential for seeing the strong winds tonight as the western edge of that eye wall starts to rotate by as the storm lifts northward. Here's the tropical storm force wind field. Here's the hurricane force winds, the yellow pushing northward away from the area tomorrow. So the conditions are going to rapidly improve as the system moves away tomorrow morning, with the northern portions of our region, DeSoto County into Glades County, seeing the conditions improve last, if you will, as opposed to Collier County down in Naples. You guys will see beautiful conditions in the morning, at least a lot better than what they're going to see towards the north. And you can see the circulation associated with the hurricane as it moves inland. With our forecast track here, our computer model forecast, you can see the eye basically riding right along the coast, and eventually by tomorrow morning, maybe by lunchtime, this thing should be wrapping up. We're still going to have west winds. It'll still be breezy. It'll still be a little cloudy. But later in the afternoon, it should get a lot better from there. So right now, it looks like things are going to start going downhill for especially areas in and around Lake Okeechobee. The rest of us, though, getting a little breezier overnight with a few showers, but shouldn't get much more. Shouldn't get much worse than that. Guys, back over to you.
Thank you, Derek. So we want to go now to the East Coast, to West Palm Beach, where Derek just showed you some of those bands are coming in and some of those intense winds are happening. Lisa Greenberg is live there. She's been there all night, where it really is very windy. It's going to have to take extra listening to hear what she has to say as these conditions continue to deteriorate. Lisa?
this storm about 70 miles off the coast of where we are right now. We are seeing some big gusts of wind from those outer bands of Hurricane Matthew. We're told those winds are reaching between 60 and 70 miles per hour. The rain is just going sideways. You'll see my photographer Michael constantly wiping the lens of the camera because that's just the conditions we're dealing with out here. If you even take a look, I keep referencing this street light. That's because that's where you can see kind of the best shot of all that rain. It is literally going in every which way direction. I mean, it is just going in circles, and those trees are swirling right around with them. It is extremely windy out here. It's gotten to the point where I have to tense up my knees to stay standing. And this isn't even the worst of it at this point. In the next couple hours, it could get even worse than this. We're told that these winds are going to be rolling through this area for the next couple of hours. You can hear, I'm sure, this gust of wind that's actually coming right now. And this isn't the area that's even going to get hit the worst. Just north of here in Melbourne and Cape Canaveral, that's where they're really going to see the worst of it. But right now we're getting some strong gusts. You can tell those 70 mile an hour gusts of wind. That's what we're seeing right now. 38,000 people in Palm Beach County are without power. The hotel we're currently staying at, the power's flickered a couple times, but we still have power here. But again, 38,000 people in this county are without power. We're going to continue to monitor the situation and bring you live updates, so make sure to stick with us. For now, reporting live on West Palm Beach, Lisa Greenberg, Fox 4, in your corner.
Thank you, Lisa. And the latest numbers, a total of 60,000 people in different parts of the state without power right now, but most of them, as you saw in Palm Beach County where Lisa is. President Obama has been urging Floridians in the path of the hurricane and people in Georgia and South Carolina on the coast as well take the storm seriously. He says it could be a, quote, devastating effect, especially if Florida takes a direct hit.
Yeah, Hurricane Matthew, as Derek has been showing us, could potentially make landfall on the east side of Florida sometime early tomorrow morning into the overnight hours. Neighboring states, though, Georgia and South Carolina, they're also watching Matthew's path as it goes up parallel along the coast of Florida and heads their way. Evacuations along the coast from Florida all the way up to North Carolina are in effect as we speak. Jan Pomerantz is live right now in Daytona Beach as Florida is bracing for what this storm is bringing.
It's here. It's absolutely here.
High winds and heavy rain. Hurricane Matthew is battering Florida's coast.
We're already starting to see the impacts, and it's a monster. Again, our #1 priority is protecting every life in this state.
But the worst hasn't hit just yet. The storm is expected to pound the area with high surf and spawn tornadoes.
This storm will kill you.
2 million people in Matthew's path are being told to get out of the way. It's the largest mandatory evacuation since Superstorm Sandy in 2012. Officials are warning people the hurricane could destroy homes and cut power to millions, possibly for days, and first responders may not be there to help.
This is really a serious storm. We have in every way tried to prepare as much as possible to keep you safe as possible.
Reporting in Daytona, I'm Jan Pomerantz.
All right, remember, 4 in your corner is your source for complete weather coverage. You can make it so easy for you to track this on your own right now. You just download our Storm Shield 4 mobile app. You'll get push alerts and up-to-date information about the weather conditions in your area.
All right, as you're watching us right now, probably getting ready for bed, wondering, should the kids be going to school tomorrow? It depends on where you live in Southwest Florida. So in DeSoto, Hendry, Glades County, your kids will not have school tomorrow because of Hurricane Matthew and the effects of the storm. But if you live in Charlotte, Collier, or Lee counties, your kids have school tomorrow. Lee County telling us after school activities are on for tomorrow. They are going to go on as planned. And as for local universities and colleges, there are some cancellations. Classes at Florida Gulf Coast University are canceled for tomorrow. If you go to FSW, it depends where you live if you have class or not. Glades and Hendry County campus will be closed through tomorrow, but if you go to FSW campuses in Lee, Charlotte, or Collier counties, you will have class tomorrow, so make sure to show up for that. All of those school closures are listed on our website as well, fox4now.com/hurricane. Now, the Lee County Emergency Operations Center has partially activated itself. It did so earlier today. It will do that for 24 hours, and basically the reason they do this, because Lee County really isn't seeing the brunt of the storm, but they do this so that they can open shelters for the people from the East Coast who are coming over to our side of the state. A lot of hotels, as we've been telling you since yesterday, completely booked, especially along I-75. Even all the way through Cape Coral, up Collier County, Lee County, parts of Charlotte County. So again, these shelters are open for people who want to find somewhere to go. The direct path of Matthew, again, will not be really affecting Lee County, but we could still experience some strong winds and rain associated with the storm. But like Derek said, by tomorrow afternoon, things should be looking much better.
Also in Lee County, the city of Cape Coral closing all parks and recreation facilities just a little bit earlier tonight, just in case they closed them at 7 o'clock. The yacht club did stay open until 9:30. They wanted to accommodate a previously scheduled event. The city's going to make the call tomorrow on the status of facilities, so we'll keep you posted on that. Right now, though, it's looking pretty good. Governor Rick Scott saying all the tolls are suspended when it comes to evacuation routes. So this would include stuff like the Turnpike and Alligator Alley, not any leeway bridges. Those stay open. About 3,000 people are already in shelters tonight, and other shelters are opening as needed.
I want to give you a look at all the shelters that are open in Southwest Florida, give you a list of them in case you decide tonight that you do want to go. They have plenty of room. Cliston Middle School is open. LaBelle Middle School, that's in Hendry and Glades County. In Lee County, there is Alico Arena at FGCU. If you have a pet and you want to evacuate, you can do so by going to Estero Rec Center. And if you live in Charlotte County and want a place to stay tonight, Harold Ave Park Rec Center is open for you as well. Well, gusty conditions are really starting to pick up on the East Coast, especially in West Palm Beach. 4 in Your Corner's Adam Weiner has a look at what's going on and how officials are really telling residents there now's the time to stay inside.
Very gusty conditions just picking up. Good evening from West Palm Beach, where Hurricane Matthew very clearly moving in. You can see just how strong these gusts are from these palm trees behind us here. Things have really picked up. The rain, the wind. We've begun to see lightning kick in here in West Palm Beach as well as this storm moves in. And obviously, everybody is in place and in shelter the best they can. I spoke earlier this evening to the mayor of West Palm Beach. She told me that obviously they are monitoring things the best they can, but they will not be able to go out into the elements to help someone if they find themselves in danger. So they are asking everyone to stay indoors, and that includes first thing in the morning when the sun comes up. There still could be dangerous conditions, and they are asking everybody to still remain indoors because of these ongoing conditions. You can see just how windy it continues to be, and it is expected to get windier, especially around 1 a.m. through 4 a.m. We're expected to see winds upwards of 80 miles per hour. So the message tonight, stay indoors. I'm Adam Weiner. Back to you.
All right, leaving nothing to chance as people were preparing to evacuate the East Coast and head perhaps to our side of the state to get away from those wind gusts that could be deadly. It could be as high as 140 miles an hour. Again, this is being called the hurricane of the century. Nearly 3,000 flights have been canceled. Most of those canceled were out of Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale actually shut down the airport, and at 8 o'clock tonight, Orlando's airport did the same thing. Right now, 2 million people are under mandatory evacuation orders along the coast of Florida. In South Carolina, Governor Nikki Haley says not everyone on the coast there is listening to officials when they say you got to get out. All right, we want to give you one last look at radar. We are going to take a quick break. You can see this is Hurricane Matthew as it is leaving the Bahamas and inching closer to Florida's east coast. We have team coverage across the state of Florida from Southwest Florida to the east coast. We are live on air as well as on Facebook, so join in on that, and we will be right back after a quick break. You're watching Fox 4 News.
You don't have to wait for a newscast just to hear the news that's important to you.
Fox4Now.com and the Fox 4 app are right in your pocket, keeping you in the know.
Don't let the weather rain on your day. Get the Fox 4 Storm Shield forecast so you can plan ahead.
When there's construction or traffic congestion, we'll keep you from running late.
Looking for free activities for your family? See where the fun is in your area.
Fox4Now.com and the Fox 4 app.
In your corner for everything Southwest Florida.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. Hospital horror stories.
Like it was my fault. Like I chose that surgeon.
Wrong site surgeries. A growing problem in Florida. And a well-kept secret.
Shouldn't the public know more about these?
A 4 in Your Corner investigation asks why doctors aren't facing consequences. And why you're being kept in the dark.
We have a problem.
I just don't want him to think that he's any different than any other child.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. If you want breaking news before breakfast, day-part weather before your workout, then Fox 4 Morning News gets your day going.
With your first look at what happened while you were sleeping.
And the breaking news that's important to you.
Police are on the scene with
Fox 4 Morning News answers your questions that start your morning every day.
Questions like, what's the weather at the bus stop? Or when will I need my umbrella?
and how to avoid those traffic troubles.
It's morning news for morning people. Fox 4 Morning News.
Oh my God, our roof's gone.
We got hit by the tornado.
We're sending people as fast as possible, okay?
Fox 4 Storm Shield keeps you safe from the worst wicked weather.
Make sure you take shelter.
Advanced weather radar tracking technology with accuracy to pinpoint your neighborhood streets.
Some flash flooding as these storms.
Fox 4 Storm Shield accurately alert you before severe storms strike. On air, online, and on the go. Fox 4 Storm Shield, keeping you safe from the storm.
4 in your corner, continuing our coverage of Hurricane Matthew as it continues to inch closer to Florida's east coast. We are across the state, including on the east coast and southwest Florida. We want to go now live to Hendry County. That's where 4 in your corner's Deborah Souverain is. She's been there all evening. She's outside of a shelter in Cliston at Cliston Middle School. Again, this is open to the public. So, Deborah, have you seen any more people come in? I know it was slow for the past few hours, but what's it looking like now?
Still pretty slow, Amy. We haven't seen any new people coming in. Still, the number remains at 275 here at this shelter. But again, they still have room for more people. But the wind is definitely picking up out here. Last time we spoke, rain was the big difference that we saw. Well, now it's definitely the wind. We're seeing those gusts. You just saw that gust that blew by. So it's definitely starting to increase. We're starting to really feel some of the impacts from Hurricane Matthew. And again, we just want to give you a look at the branches so you at home get a better sense of how strong the winds are. So still people hanging out in front of the shelter. So again, conditions have not declined to the point where people have to go inside. It's not in that emergency situation just yet, but we are seeing the winds pick up a whole lot. So we're going to keep checking in with you guys as long as we can, as long as it remains safe out here. And for now, I'm going to send it back to you guys. For now, we're live in Cliston. Deborah Souverain, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you so much, Deborah. And once again, Courtney Perna has been talking to you on Facebook. Our chief meteorologist, Derek Beasley, here to answer some of your questions.
Yeah, there was a gentleman who just posted an interesting question. He was talking about air pressure, which was way beyond me, so that's why I have to bring it up to you. And he's wondering, is it possible, because of the pressure, that this could become a Category 5? Could you guys bump it up?
Well, I really think it's unlikely for it to become a Category 5. I mean, the pressure is fairly low now. It's actually lower now than it was at one of its strongest points when it was down in the Caribbean.
Okay.
But there are a whole lot of factors that go into it. The size of the storm, because sometimes you get a big pressure drop, but if the wind field is large, it takes a while for instance, like Charlie was a relatively small storm, so it doesn't take as long for a storm like that to spin up with it being so small as opposed to one that's wider, because it takes a little longer for it to wind up, if you will. So sometimes you can get that increase in the speed. You get the winds responding with a pressure drop, but typically if a storm is large, as far as the wind field is concerned, the winds don't tend to respond as quickly.
Because we're talking hundreds of miles across on this one, right?
Right. There's one thing I got to check with the new advisory to see how big the wind field is. But with the last check, the tropical storm force winds were extending outwards about 185 miles from the center, and the hurricane force winds actually have expanded. Now that we've gone through that eye wall replacement cycle I was talking about, the hurricane force wind field actually looks like it's probably expanded a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
So it may be a little bit larger than what we were seeing with the early advisory.
And I'm so glad you mentioned Charlie, because some people are on Facebook right now saying, you know, why are we being so lax about it here in Southwest Florida? Because Charlie switched at the last minute, but it was because it was smaller, you just said.
Right. There were a whole lot of other factors that went into why Charlie turned when it did. And so this is a whole different situation when it comes to that. So two totally different storms. That's one of the things you don't want to get caught up in, is trying to compare this storm with one that happened a few years ago. Each storm kind of has its own personality.
And it seems like there's kind of this battle, I guess, back and forth of people who understand and like meteorology. Talking about the eye wall is skirting the coast, but if it shifted, I mean, just a little bit and hit more landfall, it could be devastating even more.
It could make a huge difference, but
Okay.
it looks like the whole East Coast is really going to have some issues here tonight and tomorrow.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Keep those questions coming, Courtney. We'll go ahead and talk with you and pass them on to our expert here. We appreciate it. As Derek's been showing you, the western edge of the eye wall now bearing down on the West Palm Beach area. The storm currently the eye of the storm currently just off the coast, about 70 miles east of West Palm Beach. It's packing some fierce and potentially deadly winds. Remember, the storm has been deadly for over 200 people in other parts of the Caribbean. The hurricane could come ashore early in the Friday morning hours, so just a few hours away now, near West Palm Beach. Joel Waldman in the storm zone right now, monitoring the latest developments.
It's here. It's absolutely here. It's not very far off the coast of Palm Beach. We're already starting to see the impacts, and it's a monster.
Hurricane Matthew churning ominously toward the U.S., a catastrophic Category 4 storm for most of the day Thursday. Seen here from space, it has been packing 140-mile-an-hour winds. Roughly 2 million people warned to head inland in Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Officials in many areas shutting down two-way traffic on major highways, instead turning them into one-way evacuation routes. And President Obama has now declared a federal emergency, ordering federal aid to help respond to the storm. Already in the storm's wake, a deadly scene in the Caribbean. In hard-hit Haiti alone, more than 250 people are dead.
The winds are going to be incredibly high, and then the rain, you're talking about 8 to 12 inches and getting into higher numbers past that.
Forecasters warning this hurricane could cause deadly flooding in the form of sudden storm surges.
Storm surge. Think about this, 11 feet possible of storm surge. So in your house, if you're close, you could have the storm surge and waves over your roof.
All right, so we want to go back to 4 in Your Corner's Adam Pinsker. He's been out and about throughout Southwest Florida all night in our breaking news tracker. And he did come across an accident earlier tonight. It's on Pine Island Road in Cape Coral. If you're familiar with the area, kind of close to Pondella there where the new Walmart's been built, it's actually an area where officials are looking into putting a light. So, Adam, what's the latest there?
Well, the latest, Amy, is that they're trying to clear the wreckage from this 3-car accident on Pine Island Road. At this time, only the eastbound lanes are closed. The westbound lanes have reopened at Hibiscus Drive. I'm going to step aside and show you this tow truck that's trying to get one vehicle out of the road. Off to my right, there's one that's upside down. You see the tow truck moving, and right in front of the tow truck, it's going to block your view for just a moment. But you're going to see a car with its top almost ripped off like you would if you're opening a can of tuna fish. This flipped open. There was a body pulled out of there probably 2 hours. Let's go to the video from earlier tonight, shot about 2 hours ago. And this is where we believe one of the fatalities occurred in that vehicle. I spoke with a family member, a friend of another person in one of these vehicles. I was told that's a Mariner High School graduate who survived the accident and is in stable condition, but that came from the family, not from police. Cape Coral police have been out here for a couple hours. They had forensics out here. They had the medical examiner out here, and I'm going to come back out live and show you what's going on. They're still trying to get the second and third vehicle out of here. Severely damaged. That vehicle right over there where the tow truck is, severely damaged. If you are heading this way, if you're heading eastbound on Pine Island Road and Hibiscus Drive, please avoid the area right now because they're still working out here to clear this accident. We're live in Cape Coral. Adam Pinsker, Fox 4 in your corner.
Our continuous coverage of Hurricane Matthew, showing you the very latest from the National Hurricane Center as of their 11 o'clock advisory. Winds still at 130 miles per hour. This thing moving towards the north and west at 13. Pressure now at 933 millibars. The center is still just offshore at this time, but we'll look at the track here and you can see that it's likely to move on shore potentially as part of the eye as it continues to jog on towards the north, affecting folks in the First Coast to Jacksonville area. Many of those barrier islands have been evacuated. Winds are likely to come down just a little bit, so still a very strong Category 3 storm expected moving it through Friday. as this continues to move on towards the North Florida region and also through portions of Georgia, and then finally weakening into a Category 1 as it moves up towards South Carolina into North Carolina here this weekend, and then potentially moving out into the Atlantic Ocean. Here closer to home, here's a look at the updated watches and warnings. Still hurricane warnings where hurricane force winds likely for many of those eastern counties of South Florida. Glades and Hendry County still under a tropical storm warning and tropical storm watches for counties north of Charlotte County. You'll notice Charlotte, Lee, and Collier County now out of the tropical storm watch. So your satellite radar continues to show what we've been talking about all along, the system continuing to basically wobble back and forth, first tracking towards the north, then first towards the west and then towards the north, but still maintaining itself and maintaining its identity and its strength here as it continues to do so. So we're starting to see some of the second eye wall move a little bit closer towards the Palm Beach area, but it's likely to continue to move on towards the north and have more of an impact moving towards Fort Pierce, Melbourne, and then towards, say, Cape Canaveral here late tonight, early tomorrow morning. So still about 70 miles or so east of West Palm Beach, so they're not going to see the brunt of the system. In fact, they're so far today, wind gusts have only been at about 50 to 60 miles per hour for today, but maximum sustained still pretty strong out there. And we felt some gusty conditions here across southwest Florida, and we're likely to continue to feel those conditions here heading into tomorrow. Doppler radar now shows showers and thunderstorms impacting much of the area. Southwest Florida, not so much. We'll zoom into a few spots here. Lee County, you can see some light to moderate showers passing north to south and Cape Coral down towards Iona. Seeing a quick little shower for you folks. Fort Myers, largely dry. Same for Lehigh, Alva as well. We'll move on into Charlotte County where just a few light showers are moving through your area. Northport, Englewood, you folks in the clear for now. Palmdale, we're looking at Glades and Hendry County now. At Cliston, you folks have seen some off and on showers throughout the day, also some gusty winds. We'll expect that to continue into your overnight hours as well as LaBelle, also dealing with some rain at the present time. Your storm shield forecast will put this into motion here for tonight. Don't be surprised if you're hearing the pitter patter of rain here outside your window, or hearing the winds howling as well, as we'll likely see the gusts pick up from time to time, as well as that center continues to parallel the coast, maybe interacting with the coast just a bit. And we'll be watching for that here over the next couple hours as this continues to move on towards the north, and we'll likely see some of that wraparound activity here heading into late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Here's the big picture. I showed you the closer up map. You see still very well-defined system moving towards the north. So by Friday afternoon, this is where folks in Jacksonville up towards the First Coast really going to have to hunker down as the counterclockwise winds there really do some damage, especially with storm surge and also the stronger winds with the eye. So they'll be watching for that. And we will as well as this continues to move on towards the north, also affecting folks in Georgia as well as South Carolina here through Saturday. Winds for today have been off and on, right? We've seen gusty winds at times, anywhere from 5 to 15. Some stronger winds now at Cliston, sustained about 20. But gusts, no doubt about it, they've been strong out there, up to about 30 right now in Port Charlotte, and we're likely to see the winds here continue to be a factor in the weather over the coming days, and something we'll be talking about more coming up. Right now, we'll toss it to the break.
What will America look like if we stay on the same path? 4 more years of a flatline economy, skyrocketing healthcare premiums and deductibles, national morale at rock bottom. 4 years of endless scandal, excuses and lies from a dishonest politician Americans simply don't trust. No candidates are ever perfect, but this choice is clear. A tired career politician who'd increase taxes more than $1 trillion, cost us over 300,000 jobs, and dramatically increase the death tax. Or a proven job creator who will fight to get America working, appoint common sense judges, and put us first. It's not too late to rebuild, to change Washington, to make America strong again. And it starts November 8th with your vote. The time for change is right now. 45 Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And then,
what are you doing? How hammered are you?
what do you mean?
What are you doing? And we got guests here.
Yeah, this is my buddy. Would you like me to have him? Can you tell him who you are?
My God. I tell you, I don't want to air this one, okay? Please don't air this one. Caroline, they won't believe me anymore. Well, yeah, they would believe me. Caroline, we can't air this one.
Okay.
Because it's huge.
The tailgater omelet.
Tailgater omelet, you got it.
No, you got it. You can do this, kid. Now go get him. Woo!
Heads up, guy table 10's little.
Get your game face on for Perkins' new Gridiron Greats. Tailgate favorites like the Game Day Gouda Burger, the Gridiron Ribs, or maybe run the option griddle platter.
Here you are.
Love it. He's taking it to the house. Nice.
It all comes together at Perkins. Want even more great food at great prices? Try our Great Plates menu with items from $4 to $8.
For In Your Corner, continuing our team coverage of Hurricane Matthew as it approaches the east coast of Florida. Our Lisa Greenberg is in West Palm Beach tonight. She is live and rejoins us now with the conditions over on the east coast as the storm gets closer to Florida. Lisa?
We are getting some strong winds right now, up to 60 miles per hour here on West Palm Beach, and that's just, we're not even in the worst of it yet. That's just the beginning, essentially. If you take a look behind me, you can see the rain is coming in just sideways here, and the wind is just blowing in every which direction. It's bouncing off these storage containers behind me. We can hear them kind of hitting into each other. That's kind of some of the noises we've been hearing. And if you even take a look in that streetlight, you can see there's palm trees that are just waving around in the wind. It's getting nuts out here with the rain. We're told that we've seen about 2 inches of rain out here. My jacket is completely soaked through. It is just a ton of wind and rain we're seeing right now. We are told that there's a lot of debris out on the roadways in this area, and that the power is out in a lot of the different roadways, so it's definitely a dangerous time for people to be out on the road. We're hoping that no one is out driving right now, and basically the hotel has not lost power, but we are told that 38,000 people in Palm Beach County have lost power. We've seen it flicker on and off a couple times, but we've been fortunate enough to maintain a pretty steady power supply inside of our hotel, so that's good. And like I said, the winds are just gusting. It's at points where I have to lock my knees just to stay standing. That's what we are experiencing out here right now. We're going to keep working to bring you updates. Right now, I think Matthew is about 70 or so miles off the coast, and it looks like it's going to be going north of here. So we're going to continue to monitor the situation out here. I'm going to move this way because I think that the wind is getting the microphone a little bit, so you're probably having trouble hearing me. Anyway, we're going to continue monitoring the situation out here. So make sure you stick with Fox 4 and stick with us. We'll be out here for another live update in about a half hour. For now, reporting live on West Palm Beach, Lisa Greenberg, Fox 4, In Your Corner.
All right, thank you so much, Lisa. We can hear her a lot better. Previously, it was kind of like we needed Valentino for the silent movie. The wind was so strong you could barely hear anything she said. All right, we want to show you where the shelters are available to folks in Southwest Florida. Of course, they're available to people coming over from the East Coast as they take shelter from the storm. Cliston Middle School, LaBelle Middle School, both in Hendry County, and then Alico Arena, where Jillian Idle's been reporting live throughout the night. Estero Recreation Center is specifically pet-friendly, so if you know someone coming over with pets, that's where they want to be in Estero. And Harold Avenue Park and Recreation Center also available.
All right, so we want to take you now a live look in Jacksonville. Look at this. A truck goes right into a ditch and ends up in the water. There are people, as you can see, kind of trying to get on the back of the truck and get it out of there. This is a perfect reminder. We saw even before any of the bans came through Southwest Florida, some neighborhoods just tend to flood. One neighborhood in Collier County in particular, some areas of Cape Coral are known to flood. But as this rain comes through, especially in our eastern viewing area, Hendry and Glades County, as you see a lot of rain from the bands of Matthew, you got to be careful. Don't drive through any of those puddles. Don't try and make it through, because as the experts always say, you just never know how deep it is or what might happen with your car.
A lot of trees are down in Miami tonight after Hurricane Matthew moved just along the edge off the coast there. And as you heard earlier, the governor has said that people need to get out now, specifically north along the coast there. The gov saying winds from the hurricane could be hitting the state at 100 to 150 miles an hour. He's also saying the conditions can wipe out well-built homes, destroy neighborhoods. Again, not so severe in this Miami area we're showing you, but it didn't feel good on that car, that's for sure. And again, strong winds up to about 140 miles an hour.
And those high winds doing some damage in the Bahamas. We want to give you a look at this new video coming in to the newsroom. Look at all of those trees down in the Bahamas. Again, this storm, Category 4, is no joke. It's got 140 mile an hour sustained winds. As Derek said, this is going to be the storm of the century, especially on the East Coast. This could cause severe damage. And the wind gusts, we're feeling them all the way into parts of Charlotte County. He doesn't think they're going to get any higher than what they were. I think they were hitting 30 mile an hour for the wind gusts. But again, this is trees down in the Bahamas as the eye of the storm has left Grand Bahamas just a short time ago, and it is again getting closer to the east coast of Florida.
We are tracking power outages along the east coast of Florida right now. Miami-Dade reporting about 8,500 outages. Broward County, that's the Fort Lauderdale area, about 5,000. Palm Beach County at about 6,000 right now. In Martin County, just north of West Palm, a little under 2,000 cases.
Tracking the latest on Hurricane Matthew, still looking at satellite and radar imagery. You can see they're moving away from the Bahamas here over the last several hours. Now still positioned about 70 miles east of West Palm Beach. Now quickly about east-northeast now as it continues to track on towards the east-northeast here towards Fort Myers and Melbourne. We'll continue to watch that here over the next couple of hours. Meanwhile, Southwest Florida still far away from this, but we're still being influenced by the showers and thunderstorms that you've seen throughout the day. Yeah, that's been part of Hurricane Matthew. Definitely not impacting us in a big way, but of course we are still part of the weather story here for today, Southwest Florida. The latest from the Hurricane Center as of 11 o'clock. Winds 130 miles per hour, still a Cat 4 holding on here at northwesterly wind, or moving towards the northwest at about 13. So we expect the track to continue to basically parallel the coast, if not interact with the coast here just a little bit here through the overnight hours heading into Friday. And that is where the winds will likely be the strongest. Folks near the Space Coast, the First Coast, those are the guys that are likely to see the biggest impact with the hurricane force winds upwards of 100 miles per hour. That will be likely for some of those folks extending into Jacksonville, heading towards much of tomorrow, and then through portions of Georgia, weakening just a little bit, and likely not going to weaken significantly as it continues to hug the coast here, heading through Saturday, potentially to a Category 1 here by Sunday, with winds at about 70 miles per hour. Doppler radar at the present time talking about some showers that have helped to keep the road slick out there, so be careful if you're heading out tonight. Not going to be a huge deal in terms of rainfall, not expecting widespread heavy rains, but yeah, showers and thunderstorms kind of peppering the area here will be expected. From Port Charlotte, we're seeing some of that activity down I-75 into Lee County. Some heavy rains moving out towards Pine Island and Bokeelia right now, Iona as well. Seeing some showers. Cape Coral drying out just a bit. Lehigh, Alva, you folks pretty good as well. Moorhaven, Cliston, we've got reporters much of these locations for today. LaBelle as well, seeing some of those shower activity here for tonight. So rain is going to continue to be in play through tonight, tomorrow. Could deal with some of that here for your morning commute if you are heading to work for your Friday morning. Of course, we'll be tracking that all throughout as well. And you can see the big picture. Certainly much of the rain is still hanging out on the eastern side of the state, anywhere from West Palm Beach to the north. And that's what we will continue to expect. So latest in terms of watches and warnings, Lee County, Fort Myers, you folks, no watch or warning associated with Hurricane Matthew. There was a tropical storm watch earlier, which means conditions could generate tropical storm force winds. Tropical storm warning still in effect for Glades and Hendry County, where winds are likely. And hurricane warning does extend out towards West Palm Beach here this hour, and that does continue. So no major changes in terms of the watches and warnings here across South Florida, but of course we'll let you know if any of that changes as well. Storm shield forecast continues to take the eye very close to the state of Florida. So once again, when we talk about the eye, we talk about that's where the winds are the strongest, right? 130-mile-per-hour winds in excess of 100 miles an hour. That will be likely here for some of these coastal spots, the barrier islands that we've been talking about, where evacuations have been ordered. That'll be likely heading in through late tonight, possibly after, say, 3 or 4 in the morning for many of these spots. Melbourne points to the north. And meanwhile, for us, we'll continue to see basically what we have been seeing with showers and thunderstorms coming in from the north and west and then eventually out of the west here through Friday. So we'll see generally partly sunny skies here for tomorrow, breezy conditions as well. That's what we've got now, breezy conditions throughout the area. Winds are obviously stronger, closer to where the center is at 20 miles per hour now in Cliston. We do expect to continue to see winds, say about 15 to 20 here heading into through your Friday. So don't be surprised if you do notice some breezy conditions out there on your Friday. But once again, we do expect the winds to be, the stronger winds to be closer to the coast. And as you can see it there with the red shading, also the yellow out there as well, where winds will likely be the strongest here associated with Hurricane Matthew. So once again for tonight, middle 70s, cloudy, breezy, a few showers in play. And for your Friday, we'll likely see highs in the middle 80s with more clouds around breezy and a few showers to dodge as well. Patrick, Amy.
All right, thank you, Tony. A lot of people on the other coast of Florida and even in parts of southwest Florida bracing for the possibility of power outages. About 200 or so have already been reported in Lee County, but the power has gone back up. That could mean firing up your generator if you don't have power. And if you've got one, of course, you appreciate it. But before you do, keep in mind, people have died from carbon monoxide poisoning after misusing their generators after storms in the past. Tony's been asking the experts what you need to know to use your generator safely.
The aftermath of a hurricane or tropical storm in southwest Florida could mean long periods without power. But while generators can be useful to get the essentials up and running, it's important to know how to operate one safely.
It's absolutely the most dangerous part of the generators. Is the gas that the carbon monoxide they give off.
Nicknamed the silent killer, carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas that can be deadly within minutes. Deputy Chief Richard Scott with Bonita Springs Fire Rescue says that's why it's important to be aware of your surroundings if you ever decide to use a generator.
One of the problems that people do is they put these generators in their homes, they put them in their garages, or even too close to your house where you have an open window or door, and if the wind direction's right, it can accumulate in your house. And by the time that you realize that you are having effects of carbon monoxide, it may be too late.
It's also important to know the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning.
You're becoming lethargic, you have a sudden headache, you're not feeling quite well, you might have chest pains. You do need to exit the home immediately, get to a well-ventilated open air area, and dial 911.
To protect yourself from the dangers of carbon monoxide, you want to keep the generator at least 20 to 25 feet away from your home and never operate one inside your home or garage. A carbon monoxide detector, which can be purchased at any department store, can also be a life-saving item to have.
Especially when you're using things like a generator that can emit that poison, that gas. It's very important that your home is detecting this.
Another reminder about generators, be sure to use a heavy-duty outdoor extension cord to prevent the possibility of electrical fires.
Things are picking up along Florida's east coast as Hurricane Matthew gets closer. But remember, this Category 4 storm is only moving at 13 miles an hour. Todd Walker is in Vero Beach right now, where the area actually just lost power. There's about 95,000 customers, according to Florida Power and Light, right now without power. 42,000 of those are in Palm Beach County alone. And again, Matthew hasn't even made landfall yet, if it does, in the state of Florida. So let's go check in with Todd Walker right now.
Good evening to you. Hurricane Matthew still a few hours away, but we're seeing the wind and the rain begin to pick up. Check out the palm trees behind me here. Just a couple lit up using our own TV lights here because we saw the power go out within the last couple of minutes or so. Throughout this entire area, we saw a green flash in the background, which may have been a transformer blowing as well. You can see the stop sign there, the bush there also blowing in the wind as the wind continues to strengthen. It's going to be several hours before we see the full brunt of Hurricane Matthew here in the Vero Beach area. It's expected to hit between midnight and 2 a.m. If it does officially make landfall when the eye wall crosses over land, it may be right here where we see 130, maybe more mile-per-hour wind gusts as this Category 4 storm slams slams into the coast and then scoots up most of the east coast of Florida. So this could be a devastating storm. People are hunkering down here. We haven't seen anyone in this area for hours now, as most people are heeding the warnings to have either gotten out to someplace that's not going to be affected by the hurricane, or they're hunkering down in homes that are safe in hurricanes, built, reinforced to take these kinds of winds, because they are certainly going to be put to the test tonight. We're live in Vero Beach, Florida. I'm Todd Walker. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Todd, for the update. We are going to continue our continuous coverage of Matthew. We have teams all over Southwest Florida as well as the East Coast as the storm continues to move toward the East Coast. Right now, it's about 125 miles southeast of Cape Canaveral. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. You're watching Fox 4 News.
You don't have to wait for a newscast just to hear the news that's important to you.
Fox4Now.com and the Fox 4 app are right in your pocket, keeping you in the know.
Don't let the weather rain on your day. Get the Fox 4 Storm Shield forecast so you can plan ahead.
When there's construction or traffic congestion, we'll keep you from running late.
Looking for free activities for your family? See where the fun is in your area.
Fox4Now.com and the Fox 4 app.
In your corner for everything Southwest Florida.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. Hospital horror stories.
Like it was my fault. Like I chose that surgeon.
Wrong site surgeries. A growing problem in Florida. And a well-kept secret.
Shouldn't the public know more about these?
A 4 in Your Corner investigation asks why doctors aren't facing consequences. And why you're being kept in the dark.
We have a problem.
I just don't want him to think that he's any different than any other child.
Monday on Fox 4 News at 10. If you want breaking news before breakfast, day-part weather before your workout, then Fox 4 Morning News gets your day going.
With your first look at what happened while you were sleeping.
And the breaking news that's important to you.
Police are on the scene with
Fox 4 Morning News answers your questions that start your morning every day.
Questions like, what's the weather at the bus stop? Or when will I need my umbrella?
and how to avoid those traffic troubles.
It's morning news for morning people. Fox 4 Morning News.
Oh my God, my roof's gone.
We got hit by the tornado.
We're sending people as fast as possible, okay?
Fox 4 Storm Shield keeps you safe from the worst wicked weather.
Make sure you take shelter.
Advanced weather radar tracking technology with accuracy to pinpoint your neighborhood street.
Some flash flooding as these storms.
Fox 4 Storm Shield accurately alert you before severe storms strike. On air, online, and on the go. Fox 4 Storm Shield, keeping you safe from the storm.
California Corner continuing our coverage of Hurricane Matthew as it gets closer to Florida's east coast. Deborah Souverain has been live in Cliston all night outside of a shelter there where we've been seeing the bands coming through and really kicking up the wind there. Last time we checked in, Deborah, it was raining. It seems to have calmed down a bit. So why don't you tell us what the scene is like out there in Cliston?
Yeah, Amy, it definitely has calmed down a bit, and I'm actually surprised that we're still out here and able to stand here right now. We were expecting things to pick up significantly at this point, but it seems as though things have remained about the same. The rain has lightened up a bit. We're still seeing some of those gusts, but not as strong as we saw just 10 minutes ago. So it seems as though conditions are changing at the minute. As time goes by, things are changing. But again, it's a bit better than it was a few minutes ago. The rain has lightened up a bit. Wind is a lot smoother as well. We still have some folks hanging out outside of the shelter. It's no need for them to really go inside at this point and seek shelter. Still pretty safe conditions. I haven't seen anyone else coming into the shelter just yet. Yvonne's kind of showing you the palm trees, show you how the wind is blowing there, and it's really not that bad yet. But again, there's still that tropical storm warning that's in effect until 4:30 in the morning. So still taking precautions. But as you can see right now, it's not too bad. So I'm going to send it back to you guys. We're live in Cliston. Deborah Souverain, Fox 4. In your corner.
All right, thank you for that, Deborah. Now we do want to go over to the East Coast now to Martin County, which is basically the county just to the east of Lake Okeechobee. This is the Stewart area, Stewart area and Port St. Lucie area, excuse me. So Jacqueline Powell is in the East Coast there in Martin County. She's at the EOC giving us a look at what's going on with operations there.
We're in the press room right now. This is where all of the press conferences happen for Martin County. We talked to Governor Scott here earlier when he was giving us a media update for Martin County on Matthew earlier today. Now over here is where the good shot is. You see all kinds of officials from all across Martin County. You have firefighters, you have National Guardsmen, you have dispatchers, ocean rescue, all kinds of people here watching the storm. You can see they're looking at the hurricane. They're receiving updates, taking calls, and making calls to keep an eye on what's going on right now. And over here, the other side of the press room, this is where we're staying tonight. They've put us up for the night, very nice. And over here you can see all of our rain gear is drying out after we were out in the storm earlier, riding around with the deputy. Now I'm going to take you out in the hall and show you some more about the Emergency Operations Center, but I have to be quiet because people are sleeping in the hall right outside. So I'm going to be quiet for a second. Walk you down.
Does it make sense? They were like, yeah, maybe.
Here you can see a sign up. This is a room where there are a lot of cots. People are taking shifts. Most people here are working 12-hour shifts. So while some people are out there working, there are lots of others sleeping in that room. I'm going to take you down the hall here. You see all kinds of signs to let us know exactly where to go. There's food and bathroom signs. A lot of people are staying here. Deputies are coming in and out. They are mostly here hunkering down now. When they're not out responding to an emergency call, they're coming back here because this is one of the safest places to be in Martin County right now. We're told that this building can withstand Category 5 hurricane. Now this, I think, is the most interesting room. You have food here. This was a table full of desserts earlier, and you can see people have really gotten into it. But dinner is served over here. These fridges in here are stocked with meals, and you also have water in the cooler. You have ice here, so everything that a lot of people need to stay here for possibly several days. The Martin County Sheriff's Office tells us that they were preparing for days before Matthew was coming in case they had to house so many people in one place, and they definitely did a good job. People are able to eat and stay and live here as long as they need to keep you safe out there.
An interesting behind-the-scenes look at the Emergency Operations Center, and no doubt that EOCs across Florida, especially on the East Coast, are in similar situations tonight. You know, Derek and Tony were saying that this is going to be truly the storm of the century, and you know, we don't know what kind of damage we're going to see in Florida, but it's probably going to be pretty severe. High winds ahead of Matthew, though, were already knocking down power lines, so people were dealing stuff before this storm even got close to Florida. So Jason Hackett is in the southern part of West Palm with more on that story.
We're here in the town of South Palm Beach, and take a look over my shoulder. Right there, a downed power line has apparently hit a tree. It's right now sparking up like crazy. Sparks are flying into the air, flying into our direction where we're standing right here. We spoke to police a few minutes ago. They say that FP&L is on its way to take care of the situation out here. Obviously, a very dangerous situation. We're going to stay on top of it. Hopefully, that can be fixed soon. Very, very impressive, very dangerous scene going on out here in the town of South Palm Beach.
All right, thank you so much, Jason. We also want to show you an unusual scene, a guy on a bike trying to manage through the winds of the hurricane. 4 New Corners' Jeffrey Rusak has a look from a West Palm Beach overpass.
We're on the overpass over 95 in West Palm Beach. And we saw someone doing something that you really shouldn't be doing right now. And that's riding a bicycle, or I should say, trying to ride a bicycle. We talked to one man who was just coming up this way, trying to get back home, that way, further west. We asked him what he was doing, and this is what he had to say. You did not have a ride?
No, it's okay. Okay, good.
What's it like?
Huh?
What's the weather like right now?
It's a lot of wind.
Obviously, that is something you're not supposed to be doing here, as we're getting a heavier band come through right now. Actually let up right there a little bit here in West Palm Beach. Remember, if you can be inside, make sure you are inside. That's exactly where we're going to go.